Okay, so this is episode 3 of the Kawasaki F5 restoration. We've got the motor, in my previous video, got 100% apart. The bearings came out easy without using a blind puller, so all that stuff's ready to go to the vapor blaster and get cleaned. So what I've done is I've supported it so I can take the front fork off, and then I'll just do the same thing with the rear. That's going to be close to the last thing I do is take the wheels off, but I'll take the fender off after I take the wheels so we can get to the hardware. So I'll pull the harness, the coil, the gauges, the headlight handlebars, and just get everything stripped to it's just a bare frame. Take the bearings out of the swing arm and just get everything 100% apart. And once you get that point, everything can go to the powder coaters. It's going to be black. The body work, I'll get media blasted, and then I'll do any body work that's necessary. I have a dual stock rear fender, so that's fine. My oil tank is in good shape, so basically I just gotta strip the tank and strip the fuel tank and the oil tank, and then see if I can come up with the correct Kawasaki green paint, get it painted. I've just found that I can find the decals, because these fenders have decals, and order the decal set for the tank and the oil tank, and we'll start the process of putting it back together. So my last garage, I had exposed beams, so it made it real easy to pull the front end off a bike. I would just use a ratchet strap and have the back supported and hold it up, and at that point you could kind of hold the whole bike up with ratchet straps when you've got it down to just about the bare frame. You got to use what you have, be creative. So I think what I'll do first is take the controls off, take the handlebars off, the gauges, the headlight, the wheel, then the forks, the harness, and then focus on the back. And once we get to that point, it's pretty much all the way up front. You just take it in steps. Don't look at it all at once. Just look at each section at a time, and it doesn't look so overwhelming. There's so many people that start a project like this, and then they get lost, and it gets put aside and never gets finished. So if you just look at it one little thing at a time, you can attack that, and it makes it much easier. So that's the mission for today. Is take everything out apart, get it ready to go to the powder coaters. 2 extra sets of forks. You can see these inners are just, they're really corroded. The outers, I see a crack there. Yeah, these are junk, but I have 2 other sets of these Hata forks. They have the 2 different places for the axles, so you can change the trail on how slow or how fast the steering is. That was one of the advertising things when these first came out, that you actually had some adjustment. I found on these forks, if they don't want to come out, you can just spread the split in the triple tree, and they'll get them out. You may take 2 screwdrivers. This actually has a little clip. And they actually had, it looks like 3 different adjustments you could lower the front end. So back in 70, 71, that was pretty unusual to have any adjustments. So you can see how fast you can get one of these apart. These old bikes, they didn't have taper bearings. They just had 2 races and individual ball bearings in the steering stem. And even today, nobody makes a taper bearing for this. There's a company that will show you how to modify it to put a taper bearing. These taper bearings are much better. So when you take this apart, I would have a bucket under it because you're going to have ball bearings. I think there's probably 36 on the top and 36 on the bottom. These connectors do not want to come apart. There we go. In '72, they moved the ignition from the frame up into the top and made it much better. My '75 has that. This bike and a lot of these old bikes are 6 volt. What I just took off was a 6 volt regulator. This is the CDI box. I was fortunate that there was somebody local to me when I was in California that had thousands and thousands of parts for these bikes, so I was able to get a new old stock CDI box, voltage regulator, headlight, fenders. I just bought a bunch of stuff from him. So, you know, if you look on Facebook and on eBay, sometimes you can get lucky and you can get stuff at a really good price, which I did. This harness, it doesn't look like anybody's cut and spliced, so that's good. You can actually make it pretty stiff. You can actually, it's just wrapped with electrical tape mostly. Some of this is got a plastic sleeve. You can actually carefully cut it apart and check all the wires for shorts and rewrap it, and it'll be flexible again. But this was definitely restorable. They have, where you have all these connections, they have these little boots that kind of protect it from water. It's the plug for the coil. These bikes are pretty simple. And if your harness is a mess, with a lot of bikes, especially the popular ones, you look on eBay and sometimes you can get lucky and get a new old stock wiring harness for the bike that you're restoring. Just be patient. On this coil, on the wire that goes to the ground, it actually had a grounding washer. So that's one of the things you want to remember. And with a good parts diagram, they'll show that in the diagram. Amazingly, these screws aren't corroded. They've got surface rust, but everything is coming apart. So that tells me this bike wasn't left sitting outside for years. I've looked at a few snowmobiles around here because I want to restore a 3-cylinder, 2-stroke triple snow wheel. And it's a shame that so many of them are left out from their time to new. And you open the hood and all you see is corrosion. That just tells me stay away. You want to find one that has always been in a garage and it's so much easier to restore. So I think that's far enough for today. This is all simple stuff that just about anybody can figure out. You just want to strip everything down to the last part. If I come up with something that seems like it's a little more involved, I'll film that. Okay? Thanks for watching.